Like I said earlier, we are having this discussion today about how to navigate a healthy tech career path. Starting out in tech is not so easy because I always say life is generally hard, but tech is actually harder. Like there's just a billion and one things in tech. New things come out every day. It's a whole rat race there, and it's just a whole maze. And you just keep seeing yourself running round and round, and it's like, okay, how do I navigate this right? So, my first question is, why a tech career? Why did you decide to do tech? Why did you decide to come into space? I mean, what motivated you? What was that moment, or what was the reason why you decided that yeah, I wanted to do this, or I wanted to pursue this tech career? And why I asked this question is because I have this quote that says, um, whenever you feel like quitting, you need to remember why you started. Like I said earlier, tech is not all that smooth. The journey is not really easy. There are days where things get really tough. There are days where things get really hard. And the fact that it's a never ending journey, you need that why to keep pushing you, to keep motivating you, something that keeps you in check, that keeps telling you the reason why you started this. I mean, before. It's not just because tech is there, everyone is shouting tech, 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 and you feel, yeah, I just need to jump into this wagon. What was the reason? Or what was that motivation for you? Now, for me, my motivation was, how would I put it? So, it was just because I wanted something very challenging, and I didn't want to go into medicine. It wasn't meant for me. And I schooled in Nigeria. I grew up all my life in Nigeria. And the way it works in Nigeria is that you go to high school, and in your high school, you are kind of in a particular class. Either you are in a science class, commercial class, or in an art class. So I was in the science class. And once you're in that class, your options are limited going forward. So I knew that it's either I go into medicine or I study anything science related. I couldn't do anything outside of that. And I just couldn't do medicine. It wasn't meant for me. And at the time I graduated, there was no other course out there that sounded feasible enough or that made sense to me. Let me put it that way. And then I saw tech, or somebody just mentioned it to me, and they were like, hey, there's this new course out there, it's called computer science, and this is what it is. The fact that I didn't know what it is, and the fact that it sounded like it wasn't going to be easy, was actually why I got into it, funny enough. I just wanted something that wasn't going to be boring, something that was going to, keep challenging me and just keep putting me on my toes. And anytime it gets hard or anytime it gets challenging and I see new things every day, or it's either you have this task and it's just stressing you out, I just keep reminding myself that, I mean, that's the reason why I got into it in the first place. That's why I wanted this. I didn't want something that was routine, that was normal, that I knew what I was doing. I wanted something that would always make me feel like I don't know what I was doing, and always keep me learning or keep me going. So yeah, that's my own why. But my first question to you, I said this was going to be a discussion, is what is your own why? And I would like to hear from someone, one, two, three people. What was the reason why you decided, oh, I want to pursue a tech career, or oh, I want to get into this tech, or I want to get into this thing? What was the reason?
I've been in tech for since 2011. And before I proceed with why I decided to join this industry, I just wanted to put it out there that it's easy to assume that when you are in tech, you are a programmer, right? So there's other careers like business analysis, project management, product management, and all of that. So I started as a business analyst, and the reason I chose this path is because I really enjoyed solving problems, because as a BA you are expected to to solve client problems, and then you put together the spec and the requirements and all of that. You give it to the programmers to now bring it to life, right? So I like that aspect of solving a problem, just to save a customers some money or help improve their business and all of that. So that to me is what really attracted me to the industry. Yeah.
Nice. That's amazing. I so like that you have your why so spelled out. It means you've like thought it through. That's so nice. And I like the fact that you touched on the point that yeah, tech is just not about programming. There's like a million and one parts in tech. There are thousands of roles in tech, and I like that you called that out. I'm actually going to even address that. I think that's like next slide. So thanks so much for sharing. That was so amazing. Anyone else wants to?
Good morning.
Yeah.
My name is Violet, right? So, like, I'm fairly new. I think this is like my second year in tech. I'm about to graduate in a few months, I think. So, I, I'm actually just finding the reasons why I'm choosing a tech career because I studied a BA degree in public governance and politics, and throughout the degree, I just thought, this is not something for me. I really don't like this. I thought I liked it, but I don't. And then I stumbled upon these tech games where you're supposed to be solving things, and I think that's one of the things that really drew me to a tech career. And when I was still studying, picking other people's brains and seeing how vastly and greatly they solve these problems is another reason why I think this is a career for me.
Awesome. Awesome. That's like amazing. Yeah, you're right. Even if you don't know, if you don't have that why spelled out right now, like the person that spoke earlier, but at least you had something that drew you, something that motivated you, something that just drew your attention to it. Because there was a time someone mentioned that you really need to be passionate about this. Something is like draw your attention to this and not just jumping on it as far it's tech. Everyone is shouting tech. What is that thing that is making you passionate about this? So yeah, thanks for sharing so far. I'm gonna moving on. So like someone mentioned earlier, again, tech has several roles. There are several roles in tech. There are several parts in tech. So even if you came into tech and you wanted tech as a career, there are several paths your career can take. You can decide to go to project management, you can decide to go to business analyst, like someone mentioned earlier, you can decide to go into like technical writing actually, developer advocate, that's actually another role right now. Like there are several roles that don't even require you to program at all. And they just need your knowledge on do you is this what motivates you? Is this the area that you're like most interested in? So it's about you still finding that your passion, that your motivation around the area that still draws your attention, right? So even if you feel like you don't know what exact parts you want to go into, even if you feel like right now I'm still figuring things out, especially because okay, I'm starting out my tech career, I'm just starting out in tech, I am interested in tech, or I don't know which part I want to go into. I don't know if I want to go into program management, I don't know if I want to go into software engineering or I want to go into data analyst. I say even if you feel like you want to try several things or you want to have all these things in your pocket, you need to start somewhere. So it has to be that, oh, I started somewhere, or maybe I didn't like it anymore. I just felt this was not my person. This was not meant for me, and I switched. Not that you're just packing every single thing in your pocket or packing every single thing right now, even in programming, trying to be like, I want to learn front end, back end, middle end, UI, UX, every single thing right now. It's not going to scale because you're one person and you're limited. So it's better to start at one part, figure out which one you like. You can start with just experimenting things out. I start with a particular, role right now. Is it? what is meant for me? Is it right for me? And ways you can know how it's right for you is by checking your personality out. What, like, when you are you happy to wake up every morning to go into that job role? Like, even if you don't have a job for it, like it's a particular role you're going out right now. I want to go into maybe front end when it comes to programming, or I want to go into program management. Are you happy, or are you like excited to do those things? Being excited is different from you have issues, you have bugs, you have challenges, and you are stressed about it. But is it something that even excites you, that this is a role I really want to be in? So figure out which one is the right one for you. And another important one I want to call out is figuring out the right job for you. So what I mean is, in tech, there are several, when I say job is the right word, but there are several ways go, you can take your career into. Like, you can decide to go the startup way, you can decide to go the corporate environment way, you can decide to be an entrepreneur. Like, I want to come up with my own idea, build my own product and put it out there. You can decide to be a freelancer, a contractor. I just wanted to point it out there, especially in the part of whether I want to work for a startup, do I want to start my career in a startup, or I want to go into a corporate job, corporate environment. Corporate environment, like, I mean, like working in a corporate company, standard company like Microsoft, Facebook, or these places, or even a normal standard company like a bank or something, or being a startup. And why I'm mentioning this is because not every not every working environment is the right one for everyone. So I know everyone always like to work in a good place. We want to work in a good job. We want to get a good job in a good company. Everybody, or most people, want to have dream companies, or let me put it like that. But the truth is that many of these companies have the way they work, and it can affect you as a personality. Now, in Microsoft, you are kind of limited, or out in the sense that you don't have visibility on every part of the products we work on. Microsoft has several products. I work on Azure basically. And even on Azure, that's why I said I work on Azure based platform. Even on Azure, there are different platforms in Azure. Now, in my team, I don't know whatever they do as regards Azure portal, the beautiful, beautiful things you see about Azure services, AKS, all those kind of things. I don't do anything related to that. The fact that I know about it the reason is because I learned them on my own, not because that's what I do day to day. So day to day, I'm so limited. What I work on is what I work on, and I work on the base platform. I'm just focused on the services that I build, and in that case, I don't have the general or broad knowledge on how these things work. I don't have the broad knowledge on what it means to host your applications in the cloud. I don't have that centered knowledge if I was to focus on what I do day to day naturally. But when you work in a startup, you have that general knowledge. You literally will do every single thing. You probably will be front end, back end, UI, UX, everything together. So, what type of person are you? Do you feel like you always want that broad view? You want to have control of, or you want to have that, central knowledge of every single thing, and you want to be able to experiment. You want to be able to experiment and try several things. You can't do that in a corporate environment. So you need to find this balance and check these things out so that you know either where you want to start your career and then switch later on, or where you want to like focus your career in. So it's super important. Many people just skip that and just feel like, yeah, I want to go to Microsoft, or I want to go to Google. I didn't regret going to Microsoft. I'd always wanted a corporate environment right from beginning. I don't like startups. I know that, but still, yet it wasn't easy for me. For some people, I've had people that come into these companies and they end up switching to startups at the end of the day because they feel like this is not meant for me. I don't enjoy what I do here. I'm talking too much. So after figuring out your the role you want to go into, where you want to start. All this is still like right now. Where do you want to focus on? Where do you want to dwell on so that you have clear direction? Because I just feel like in life you always need to know know where you are to be able to know where you are going to. If you don't understand where you stand right now, you don't know where you can't really draw the line as to, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go to next. So figuring out that tech role, the role you actually feel like you want to focus in right now, where I'm starting, or this is where I'm dwelling, this is my niche right now. This is the type of job I really want to go into right now. That would allow you to be able to say, yeah, this is the next step, or this is where I am, and this is what I'm looking forward to. This is the next step I'm going into, right? So after like setting or defining your career, that's not always like deciding, yeah, deciding what role works for you, what job works for you, what working environment works for you. You know, tech doesn't change. It's a journey. It doesn't end. So you really need to keep managing your career to keep excelling and to keep making yourself happy. Because again, you don't want to stay outdated. There are new things every single day. Like the fact that you are still learning, you can still be learning in cloud, and before you know, they say they are bringing another thing. Today is Web 3.0, it is blockchain. Tomorrow is going to be another thing, probably here, VR, whatever, and you can just get lost again. So managing your tech career is important, and some tips that I've seen over time or have heard from people over time, and again, we are learning from each other, so I'll still ask what your tips are also. So some tips I've heard over time are this. First thing and most important is defining your own career. Like, I don't know how to stress this, or I don't know how to explain this, but tech career is different from your own tech career. You need to make this your own. You need to spell things out for yourself. You need to craft your career for yourself. If you keep your career to be general, the way everybody defines what tech is, you will get yourself burnt out. You will get yourself unnecessarily stressed. You will get yourself unnecessarily overwhelmed. Because again, new things come out every single day. As I like, whether I mean, it was just still recent, like 3 years ago, it was just all about JavaScript. Different libraries of JavaScript was coming out every single day. And it was like, if you're not learning JavaScript, you're missing out a whole lot. People didn't learn JavaScript at that time. And they are still surviving, still excelling, and still enjoying their tech careers. So now it's all about this new shining thing out there. Everybody's like jumping on it. And it's like, if you don't know it, you're missing out a whole lot. People will still not know it, and they will still be enjoying their lives and excelling. So it's important to know. Okay, so it's important to define your own career, craft your own journey, so that it works for you and you are able to sift out several noise as long as it doesn't work for you. So it's more like, okay, what are they shouting on right now? Is that something that is supposed to be in my bucket list? Is that something that is supposed to be part of part of my experiences, my collection of experiences? If it's not, you can just sift the weeds out, which boils down to that part of still deciding that, oh, I want to choose a particular career path, I want to choose a particular role, I want to choose a particular job or something. So it's still like you need to trim it down to what works for you so that you can know what to focus on at a particular point in time. And another point is fine, it's easier to always, aspire to be like someone, or it's easier to look up to someone, but someone used to say that it's good to have role models. You can have role models. You can have, people you admire. You can have people like you really probably want to be like. But there is a blurry line between aspiring to be like someone and comparing yourself to someone. And these are things that can make you miserable because again, everybody has the way they craft their own career. The fact that some people right now they are just skyrocketing, doing a million and one things at the same time and trying to just fly above the sky doesn't mean that they're going to get to wherever they are before you or something. I think that's not even the comparison. It's not about getting anywhere. It's about again, what is your own career? What is your own motivation? What is your own streamline? And why I say this is because something happened to me recently, and I had to come to this point. I think I need to keep it time checking. I had to come to this point and this realization that I said, oh, I need to define my own career and I need to define what makes my own career. Because you keep chasing things, there's always next level. There's always people out there that you would always see that do better than you. There's just a lot going on. You know, there is the noise of new things every day. There is the noise of you go to LinkedIn and you just see people getting things. If you are looking for a job, it's that time you see a lot of people are getting jobs in the same company that you're applying to. Like there's just too much in this life, and you just need to listen. So that was why I came up with this point of defining your own career, defining that thing that says, this is me, this is what I stand for. Like, for me, I've decided that whatever I do, if I'm not learning or making impact, then I'm done. So, I'm focused on growth. I really want to grow. But what I define growth as is I'm learning. I'm better than who I was yesterday. Okay. I didn't know. If I look back at last year, what didn't I know? What did I know right now? So it's as long as I'm improving, I'm fine. And as long as I'm making impact somewhere, like either I'm making impact in someone's life, I'm making impact in my role, I'm developing products, I'm doing services, I'm providing value to my team. So as long as I'm doing those two things, I'm fine. So that I don't kill myself with the stress of I don't know where 3.0 is right now. And everybody shouts for 3.0. Like I just need to listen. It's important. And the next point is now okay, finding a support system. This is also another important point. Like any other thing, it's super important to have a support system. And support system is not just about mentorship. It's not just about having someone to mentor you or someone you see as a mentor. In short, that word called mentorship, I think it's well overrated or I don't know I don't know whatever the word is supposed to be, but I think there's supposed to be some sense of caveat there. There are other different ways you can find support system. You can find support system whether with accountability partner, community or something like this community you have, having somebody that does the same thing with you and all that. So why I said the word mentorship is always overrated because many people just feel like, oh, whether it's a tech thing or a community thing, it's always like it's very important to have mentors before you can excel. Don't get me wrong, it's not that it's wrong. I do have mentors. But when it becomes the first thing of I'm looking for mentors and I need to find mentors, you probably may not get a lot out of it. So even if you want mentorship or you're looking for mentors or that word called network, whatever you want to do, I always feel like intentionality is very important. So being intentional about why do you even want this? Again, why? It's like, am I wanting mentors or am I wanting mentorship because it's the normal thing out there? People talk about it, or people say, oh, it's important to find mentors, blah blah blah, or am I wanting this because I really need this person to mentor me on so then. Again, intentionality. Like, is there a particular thing that you want mentorship on? Like, okay, I want mentorship on presentations. I want to be able to. I don't have confidence in speaking publicly, and I know it's an important skill to have. I see that you speak really nice. I see that you speak effortlessly. Like, is this something you can help me with? And call it out importantly. This is what I want you to do with me. Like, is it that okay, whenever I'm preparing for a big presentation, I'm going to come and meet you, and I'm going to do this small presentation for you. Like, in that way, it's very intentional. It's not just putting someone there. It's always weird when you get to this mentorship meeting and you're just talking generally, or there's this awkward silence, you don't know what to say again, or it's just forced. You know when things are forced, and you know when things are organic. So that's just my point. It's like, it's not bad. Mentorship is very important. It's good to find mentors, but don't see it as it is a necessary skill to success. Even if you don't have mentors, that doesn't mean your career is not going to be successful. It's just, accountability partners have actually proven to work better than mentorship. And accountability partner means, okay, I want to do this. Like, I'd always wanted to have an algorithm mentorship series where people come together and just, solve problems together. I had no plan. I had no idea on how this is going to work, but I really wanted this to happen. I wanted that to happen last year. It never happened because I told no one. But this year, I decided to tell my friends. I was just shouting it up and down that, hey, I want to do this. I want you to do this. So, can you hold me on it? And they keep reminding you, hey, have you started? Or have you put a plan into place? When are you starting this? So, people that just bug you, and they could be your friends. So, it doesn't have to be someone like IHOPs or something. It could just be somebody that is like your friend, your partner, or anything. Just keep telling them, trying to make them hold you accountable or something. I have someone right now that is like, hey, I want to build an application. I know the way it is to build a pet project. It should just be it should just sit down in your archive forever. Or it should sit in your head forever. It will never come out. You never build a project. Especially when it's a pet project. So I'm just like, hey, can you check up on me every month to tell me, hey, how far with this project you want to build? That's all I need from you. I'm not doing anything. But the fact that you know that somebody's going to ask you that, have you done something on this project? We kind of keep it in check. So that's the part of accountability partners. And just, having a community also around people places where you can ask your question easily. Because there are times you get stuck and you just need someone else to see things in a different light. Or even sometimes you're explaining your problem to someone. I don't know if it has happened to you, but you're explaining your problem to someone. You're like, hey, I got into this problem. And I was trying to write this, and it got this, and it got that. And as you're explaining it to someone, you yourself, you figure out the issue yourself. You're like, oh, the issue is this. But the fact that you just needed to talk to someone about it was super important. So just having people around generally, my point is the important part. So you don't have to go so far. You don't have to stress yourself on going above and beyond and finding people in your network. Even the friends you have around could be of help to you, could be of awesome support to you. It's just you trying to leverage it. So I'm just trying to, bring to light that don't look down on whatever support system you have right now. These I mean like your friends, your family members, they are also important to your growth. Then talking about now that networking outside in the sense that you're able to find opportunities because networking is super important. You can't underrate that. It's like super important. You need to be able to find you need people that would call your names in rooms you are not in. It's like you can't be in every room every time. And again, there are some rooms that just above you. And you just need people that will just call you in for opportunities. You just need people that will just say, "Hey, I know Hope can do that. You can call on her; she would do that." And these are opportunities you probably may not ever even get to in your lifetime. Like smell it. But you just need those kind of people. You need people that can take bets on you. That can say, "Yeah, give it to her. Give her that opportunity, even if she's not qualified for it." Yeah, that's why networking is important also. But again, you stress yourself about it. Just make it very intentional. When you see someone that does something great, like I was saying that when there used to be physical events, I when we go for events, you see people that come to talk. It's always very you feel that pressure of everybody going to talk to this person, like maybe the CEO of a company, the CEO of someone, a company, comes to an event. You see, there's that pressure of I need to like show myself out to them. But again, if you don't have anything you want to go and discuss, what's the point of stressing yourself to go there? But noting that I met this person as also important is very important, right? Now, the day when you need something from that person, like let's say this person is the CTO of a particular company and you want an internship in that company, you can always go to the person's LinkedIn. LinkedIn has made life so easy right now. Go to the person's LinkedIn, send a request and say, hey, it was nice listening to you at social event. I knew you talked to at social event and it's been nice to connect with you. I would like to discuss something else with you, or I would like to intern at your company, something. Just to this thing out there. But the fact that you can always be intentional on what I want from you makes the relationship easier to navigate. Unlike, hey, I'm just going there, I just want you to know me. Person's going to know 1,001 people, and they're most likely going to forget you. So my just point is just networking and whether mentorship, whether sponsorship, network in general, let it be with intentionality. It makes it easier for you and it makes it easier for the person you're networking with. And then I think this is like my last point on managing your tech career is having a growth mindset. Like I can't I can't overstress the importance of this. And what growth mindset really means is just what I put up. It's just about knowing that I can learn something. I don't have to be a smart ass. I don't have to be a genius. I don't have to, be a pro in this particular area. I can learn it. So far, you can learn something, you are fine. Like there's just this piece it gives you that when it's time, I'm gonna learn it. It's just an awesome piece. So having that growth mindset also, gives you that sense of being able to enjoy your career. So in the sense that you're not afraid of failing, you're not afraid of making mistakes. You're just able to know that most important thing here is progress, right? Most important thing here is I'm learning. That's just it. So growth mindset is just it's it's just I don't know. I'm trying to put the word, but I think the point is just learning to be able to grow. That's just it. So when you have a growth mindset, I think the counter opposite of it is having a fixed mindset. And what a fixed mindset means is that you have to be a pro in a particular area. Like I have to specialize or I have to, know something about a particular area before I can venture into it. Before I can say, oh, I can stand into it. It's more or less like the way or the statistics that says women don't apply for jobs that they are not 100% qualified for. So when you have the mindset that I can always learn on this job, I can always learn, um, not I'm not required to know every single thing about this thing, then you are switching your mindset from that growth to fixed. I think so. An example is let's say I joined the team recently, and I got to this team, and there is a new task. Now, this task is super new. It's a super new language. I have already done C Sharp all my life. This is a C++ task. It's a C++ project. I don't know what C++ is. I have zero idea about what C++ is. So, in addition to the fact that this task is super new, now there are other tasks, right? That they're like probably C Sharp task, and it's easy for me to pick this up and just say, yeah, I can do this. So like you tend to choose. But I just decided that fine, in this task, it's two things that can happen, right? If I decide to take it up, is either I am able to do this successfully, customer is happy, or I mess it up and customer is not happy. But then, what other things am I looking at? If I pick up this task, I tend to learn what C++ is. I mean, I would have to learn C++ to be able to work with it. I tend to learn what C++ is. I tend to be able to, learn about this aspect of this project that I've ever done before. So at the end of the day, I'm going to learn a lot, right? So even if I mess it up and customer is not happy, which is not the goal, but I'm going to learn out of it. That's like super important. So, and I pick up this project, and yes, it was really stressful. It was very demanding, and it was scary because again, customer needs to be happy, which is the point of you're not afraid of making mistakes or you're not afraid of failing, as long as you learn from it. That's the point. So when I picked up the project and I ended up doing it, and thankfully customer was happy or it came out well. But most importantly is that I learned a lot in the process. It gave me more confidence to be able to say, oh yeah, I can always pick up any project as long as I'm willing to learn from it. So I think that's the explanation between it, and having a fixed mindset on the fact that I am not used to C++ and the fact that I'm super new to this system. I don't want them to see me as an idiot if I fail, because there's tendency for me to fail, there's tendency for me to mess this up, and this is like my first shot here. So that fear is going to keep you from trying to venture into this area. That fear is going to keep you from trying to learn this new thing, right? So just shifting your mindset into I want to always learn from whatever I do, whether it is scary at the end of the day, whether it is not going to work out at the end of the day. As long as I learn from it, it's fine. And it's also good in interviews. Check time. It's also good because it happened. Or when people go for interviews, it doesn't always work out right. It most likely never is work out, especially when you're applying to big companies and all. Now you can take a route of I don't want to apply to this company because I'm scared of rejection, or you can take a route of I want to apply to this company. Fine, I don't pass the interview, I don't make it to the next stage, or I'm going to ask the recruiter that, hey, what did the interviewer said I did wrong? Is there something they pointed out on what I could learn, on what I could work on, or what I could do better for my next interview? And then you go into your next interview and you pick up those points and you keep getting better. See, you're going to be way better than that person that felt like, yeah, I either got one rejection once and the person just felt like, no, this is not meant for me again, or I the person just felt, or someone that just felt like, no, I'm scared of rejections and I'm never going to try this. You are going to be like better off than that person. And yeah, I just feel like past. I just hope I pass that. And I hope that's not a counterpoint to, okay, trying to like, specialize in the area. The fact that the first point I talked about starting somewhere, picking a particular role that you want to focus on. It's not a counterpoint to it. This is way different than that. This is more like I'm interested in learning and I'm interested in growing. That's just it. So Now talking about, okay, to people, yeah, I'm not talking about people that are like grounded already or people that are already doing awesome well. But people that, if you feel like you are just starting out, like you're super brand new and you want to get your first tech job, like your first, that first awesome job that you want, right? So some tips I have is, and yeah, time check. Some tips I have is just trying to, you know, rebrand your resume, rebrand your LinkedIn profile. And I have some resources. They are like free academic courses that you can use to refresh your resume, your cover letter, and strengthening your LinkedIn network. These are free career resources on Udacity you can always use. It's like really important to do this. I took these courses and they were like super helpful. So they're like really, really short courses that you can always take. Another thing is, again, most people don't take bets on people. Nobody, I know it's like always, I would be counterintuitive when you just feel like you need to start your career, right? And these companies want people with experience. How do you expect people that are just starting out to really start their careers if you want people with experience? So most companies don't want to always take bets on people. You have to find a bet yourself, and that's why sometimes I just feel like you should volunteer your services. You can just find someone that needs a website, like if that you want to build a website, you want to go into web development. You can just find someone that needs a website, build a website for them, and it's those are points you can go to or points you can things you can point to when you get to an interview and say, hey, I did this for this person. Even if you did it for free for them, more or less like at the end of the day, you're using it to be able to vouch and say, I have the skills that I've been able to do or have been able to volunteer somewhere. Pro bono internship, yeah, I put that point there. This what it means is, doing an internship in a company where you're like, don't pay me, just give me a job. I know it doesn't sound nice, but what do you do when these companies don't want to take bets on you and you really need to start somewhere? So it's a give and take here. As long as you allow me to put you in my resume and say I intern here, fine with saying, yeah, let me spend 3 months. Yeah, you don't have to pay me, but just give me that bet on being able to come into your company and work for you. And yeah, I have done that. it's it's just a way to get yourself ahead, and it's just a way to make things work for you at the end of the day. And another last thing I say is find the role you want, find the actual role where you want to go to. Either you want to be a software engineer, and they say they would always list out. You can go to career pages and see job description, even if you are not applying at that time. They will always list out the skills they want, right? And there are some must-haves that are there, more or less like something like, have a job, have a object-oriented programming understanding. Now, if you don't know what object-oriented programming is, that's a check for you to go back and say, okay, I need to learn what object-oriented programming is. I need to know what algorithm and data structure is. So it's like, so find that role, look for career pages, look for just job descriptions out there, and look for that role, look for those knowledge gaps, those understanding they're always looking for, and look for how you can fill it. And yeah, that's the point. And I think these are also resources I have, like I mentioned before, that these are career resources you can use from Udacity. I took them. I used it a lot, and it really helped me, especially the cover letter part and resume. I don't know if they still have that part where you send your resume to them and they are going to be able to give you, they kind of do like this audit on it and they give you a report back. I don't know if they still do it, but those were like the things I did then. And yeah, I saw this blog post where they said how to figure out which tech career is right for you. That's also another thing that you can use. And that was that's the end of my short presentation. So I think I still have some more time. I'm going to turn it back to you if you have any questions for me.
Thank you so much, Hope, for your time. Um, I think I have a question. I've gotten this question so much from a lot of people. You talked about the noise. Indeed, there's so much happening in tech right now, and one can easily get confused. Okay, what exactly do I really want to start with this way? How are you able to stay focused, learning C sharp sharp in the midst of Python and JavaScript and libraries and React and all this? How are you able to say, okay, this C sharp, this is what I'm doing?
This one.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So now, programming languages depend on whatever you're doing. You can't you can't be using C sharp to write a front end. Like people do it, yeah, but it's just not efficient enough. So if you're writing front end, you know that you are doing HTML, CSS, and most likely JavaScript and one of its library. Then if you're doing backend, if you're like writing logic, if you're writing APIs, if you're focused on that part, you know that you have to pick one of the languages that suits it. So for me, I knew that I never liked front end. I never liked UI, UX, and all those things. I did it at some point. I know what HTML is, I know what CSS is, but it's like I knew early enough that I always liked the logic aspects of something. I always like the way things work. I always like to build the APIs, and I needed to focus on the back end. And on the question of the language, now there is a myth out there that a particular company focuses on a particular language. Though I know they do it in Nigeria, that if you don't know a particular language, they probably know about you or something. But again, I already knew that I was not focusing on startups, so I was fine. So in corporate companies like Microsoft and Co, they don't care about your language. Most important thing is you know a object oriented programming language. That was why I mentioned that part. They always put it in their descriptions. So since I know that it's just an object oriented programming language they need, I can as well just focus on one and use it to understand the basics of programming, use it to understand everything about programming and do it well. So I think I mentioned the point earlier that even if you want to be a jack of all trades, at least you need to be a master of one. So I needed to focus on C sharp because I started with it and I knew that it's an object oriented language. I could use it to learn everything about object oriented language and I would be fine with it. So why don't I want to stress myself in learning about Python? And I did learn about these things. Don't get me wrong. I learned about Java, I learned about Python at some point. But most times it was always because the project I was working on had to deal with it or something at that time. But again, I still picked C sharp as per you just need one language at the end of the day to be able to say if you are going to work with something, you are dealing with something. If you are to build a project right now, it's just one language you need. So it's still that what's your comfort level? Where can I stay with? So I picked C sharp as my normal language because I was fine with it. I already started with it and I knew that wherever I was going into or wherever I any company I wanted to get into didn't care about my language as long as I could learn at the end of the day. So I was fine with the language.
Okay, thank you. Hope. We
Yeah.
have other questions here. The next question said, how do you deal with imposter syndrome?
Hmm, that's a big question. Yeah. Okay, so I think the best
Maybe
is
if I can provide some context to my
yeah,
question.
yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm gonna
just
do.
break it down a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, that's what I'm
um,
gonna do. So
yeah. So just, I think maybe to be slightly more specific, it's a question I often get from developers who are just starting out. Maybe they haven't made it into professional software development yet. And there's always this question about whether professional software developers experience that, and does it go away at some point? If not, how does one deal with this sort of constant nagging feeling that you might not be where you belong, or you might not be in the right place, or you might feel like you don't have everything that it takes to actually be there?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that you broke it down. So, well, I think again the first thing is acknowledging that it is real, and most people have it. It's evident there. I When I joined Microsoft, right? I joined from I joined from Nigeria. I joined from Africa, right? And you get into this company, and people are like, it's always like, oh, they're geniuses in this company. Everybody here is smart, and you know what is all. It's because you know your capability. You don't know what others' capability are. It's like I know what I can do. I know where my strengths are, and that's why you are always scared. You always feel like I actually add those things. I always We always tease each other, me and my friends, and we're like, what if one day Microsoft wakes up and they just feel like they hired the wrong person? So it's real. It's always there for you, and it's put me through a lot because I was pressuring myself into trying to show that hey, you made the right decision, and you don't wake up and fire me one day. So I was spending nights after night. I have a particular task. I'm on the pressure of, oh, I need to send the PR out sharp, sharp, so that they know that I'm a smart person, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it was, it was months into me realizing that it's not worth it. And I think someone even mentioned it to me. Because I told the person, I was like, hey, I always have this pressure. I have this. I realized it. I think that's the first thing. First realizing that yeah, it is there, it is real, and saying it when you talk people, you end up realizing that everybody has this thing. And she said that she was a woman. She was like, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. Let me not pressure. Don't pressure yourself. It's not worth it because everybody out there is also trying to feel like yeah, the next person is smart or everybody is smart around me. I mean, it's tech. So everybody's just being on that pressure. That is why we only see what is in front. You don't see what is behind, or you don't see what goes on underneath in people's mind, right? So for me, the way I was able to navigate it is first of all coming to the realization that everybody has this, everybody's going through it, and I am not a genius. Nobody also is a genius. Nobody was born a developer. Nobody was born smart. Everybody at one point in time got to where they are because they learned from it or they learned through experience. I think I read a post and I'm going to look for it and post it because that was a post that really helped me at a particular point of time I was dealing with this thing. That day I had messed up something, I had messed up the repo, and I was, I didn't know what to do. Like it was like the ground swallowed me because I was like, hey, God, I've messed up. I've already done this. Later they would. So it's always comes there. It's always real. But someone said that nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody's just trying to figure it out. So me coming to that realization that everybody goes through this. We are all on the same level, yeah. Like the fact that you see that somebody is probably acing it, someone is probably saying, "Hey, this is what you should be doing." Oh, I'm having this problem, and okay, yeah, this is the issue. It's because they went through it. It's because they built it by experience. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna get there if I keep learning, if I keep going through these experiences. So it's just coming to that realization. I think it's just a shift to mindset and also calling it out to yourself because And I'm like really serious. This is just the way it is. Right now, I have new people that come into the company. They come into the team and they're like, hey, I'm facing this issue. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. The issue is because of this. You know, that person is like, okay, how did this girl figure this out? Oh, she's smart. But it's a lie. The problem is because I'd gone through that issue. It took me days to figure it out. But I figured it out and I knew that this is what you are facing. So I built it by experience. It's not that I knew it by being smart. Nobody knew anything. Nobody knows everything all. We all learned it at one point in time. So just come to that realization that as long as I'm willing to learn, I'm gonna get there. It's totally fine. So
Thank you so much, Hope. The last question we have is how important it is to have a project portfolio.
yeah, super important. It's like especially if you are on your way to getting your first tech job yet, or trying to still you are still in that vesting stage of trying to tell companies that I don't have so much experience, but you can take the bet on me. Because again, companies want people with experience. But if you're just starting out, you need someone to be able to take that bet on you. So having those projects, I think I mentioned it earlier that even if you don't have someone you can build a project for, volunteering that, hey, I want to build this project for you. It could be your family member, it could be, charity organizations and all that needs a website or that needs a particular project. Just building a project that is useful. That's another point. Like you can't just build any project anyhow. Know the reason why you're building this project, even if nobody uses it. So having those projects in your portfolio is going to give people those. It should give them that benefit of that. Yeah, let's. This person has done something at least. So it's important to have a portfolio of products. Like super super important, especially if you are just asking for an internship or you are asking for your first tech job and you don't have so much experience. Projects are just like your best bet.
Okay, thank you so much, Hope.